Fantastic, and welcome everybody to part 2 of our 100% Better in Wealth series. I'm delighted to share this is the second part. We had last week understanding network marketing, and if you haven't had a chance to see that one, go to our YouTube channel, Longevity Down Under, and all you have to do is just put 100% Better in Wealth part 2, understanding network marketing, and it'll come up. And we totally hope you enjoy this series. This series is just really here to motivate you, help you understand the benefits and opportunities available to you in this industry, how fabulous it is. We want you guys to stand up, be proud of being professional network marketers, whatever your passion is, however you want to bring the people in. And we want you to meet people where they're at, love them, and show them the opportunities that Longevity has. And so part of this series, we're so delighted, is all the different mechanisms that it really takes to be successful in this industry. And we know the products work, we already know the programs work, but what you get to decide is how you are going to work. And we know for you to work, it sometimes takes a few elements. And so part of the series is the element of you, and that is you as in you, the inner game. And so we have one of our highest ranking 4 stars here in Longevity Down Under, the most gorgeous Manfred. He is a professional network marketer for over 20 years. He's going to share his story, but he's also going to share with you how he has worked on his inner game. This is his series. I've watched his videos on this, and it's so inspiring. And I thought, you know what, this is content that we all need to know. We all need to learn, and we are a constant work in progress. And so I know how myself coming in the business 25 years ago as a single mom on social assistance, I knew the woman who I was not going to be the woman who I needed to be to earn a 6-figure income and run a multi-million-dollar business. I had to become something more, and I had to work on that inner game. And I was blessed to find the mentors, to read the books, to go to the events and surround myself with positive people. But that was a skill, that was something I had to learn. And listening to what Manfred has to share with you, he is going to cover all these elements on how you can be 100% better. So Manfred, I am honored that you have joining us here all the way from Nelson, in New Zealand. And oh, there you go. He's already screen sharing for us. I was wondering what's happening. And so Manfred, please share your story. Please share with us how you've mastered the inner game and how you love to share and shine this fabulous concept. So Manfred, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Tracy, and hi everybody. Good evening. And to me, the inner game is what's going on 24/7. It works inside of you while you sleep, and it hasn't been put there consciously by you. Oh, was an echo? Okay. So it's what's been put there from the outside, right? So like you come here as a baby, your mind is empty, and then other people fill up your mind. And then you learn, and now we're all adults, right? And that subconscious mind that runs 24/7 is directing our life. And it takes a lot to change that. And most of it has been put in the first 4 years of our life. And so I like a saying that is by Carl Jung. He's quite famous. I hope you know Carl Jung. But he said, the subconscious, until the subconscious is made conscious, it will run your life and you will call it fate or call it destiny. Well, that's just who I am. You know, people say, oh, I'm a Sagittarian or I'm this and that's just how I am. But the fact is, and that's really important for success in this business, is that with everything you know right now, you have created the life you have right now. Now, if you want to change that, you have to change your subconscious mind. You have to change your programming so that for 24/7, it runs with a different program that has the success and the life that you really want to live playing, right? The tape is playing anyway. You know, there's an old saying that says, an empty mind is the devil's workshop. And that's kind of, if you don't know where you're going, it's like you want to go from Brisbane to Cairns or from Brisbane to Melbourne. You better know where you want to go and then follow the shortest track if you want to get there fast. And so many people say, oh, I'm just cruising, but just cruising usually makes your life go downhill. That's the only time it runs by itself and easy is downhill. If you want to change it for the better, it takes effort. And I believe that 80% of network marketing is on the inner game, and 20% or less is what we actually do every day. It's who we are being while we're so busy doing is not taught in school. It's usually not taught by our parents unless you were lucky. And so that has to be a conscious focus. Who am I being when I talk about this business to somebody? Because who I'm being is screaming much louder than what I'm saying. So that's all inner game stuff. And we got a nice presentation here, so I better go through this. It's doing this thing for me again. It did that the last time we did it. Now it works. Okay, so because I'm in my 60s now, and a lot of the people around me are in that generation of baby boomers, and I hear a lot about downsizing. And so I came up with this saying, upsize your income now so you don't have to downsize your lifestyle later. And who wants to downsize, right? Like, depending on your age and your environment, you may not have heard a lot about it. For me, it's been sticking out to me that people accept that after 40 years of working for 40 hours a week, right, that they have to downsize to a lifestyle that is based on 40% of the income that already was never enough in the 40 years they were working. So all of a sudden, everything gets tighter, and that's supposed to be your golden years. You worked for 40 years so you can retire and have your golden years. They're not that golden if you have a close look, unless some people have done quite a conscious effort to not end up just on the pension, right? So downsizing is forced on us when we have to, but I don't think anybody would really want to live on less money and less quality of a lifestyle. Part of the inner game is to accept that what you think about comes about. So that means there's been in the 60s a lot of start about this talk, but now there's science behind it, that whatever you focus on, you get more of, right? So if you worry a lot, you're manifesting worry. If you have a clear goal and a vision of where you want your life to go, and you can hold that, it will happen. There's some science even saying if you can hold a single focused thought for 80 seconds, it will manifest. Now, there isn't many people on this planet who can hold a single thought for 80 seconds. Try it out. See how long you can think one thought without having 50 other ones trying to get in, right? We're all very busy in the mind. So 80 seconds is a long time to hold the focus. But that's kind of part of the inner game training, is to still down the chatter in the mind so you can actually focus on what you want to manifest. And the better you get at that, the faster your goals will happen. And it all starts with having a vision, having a goal, having clear action steps, and doing the action steps daily. And life will always try to take over, and the chatter in the mind will always try to take over. So that's the inner game. As a game, it can be fun. You can catch yourself going, this isn't going to get me where I want to go, and turn around and run the other way. And I always say, have a clear focus on where you want to go, and then run as fast as you can in that direction. But there'll be people always say, oh, come over here and watch this movie and do this, do that. And next thing the day is over and you haven't built your business. So focus and action is two key things we have to do every day. Know what you're going to do tomorrow before you go to bed, and get up and do it and not get distracted. So a lot of that ties in with our belief system, right? And what we have learned, we can change our beliefs relatively easy, especially in regards to our business, if we do what it takes to learn what we don't know, right? So I have these 5 points because it's very easy for me, because I got 5 fingers and I can remember. So this is a little exercise that's very important and very helpful to do with your new business partners. So quickly, it's your belief in the industry, the company, the products, the compensation plan, and other people. But the exercise is, on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is your belief in the industry of network marketing? So that when somebody says something negative, it doesn't shake you off your track at all, because you are 100% sure that network marketing is the industry that will get you to where you want to go, and you other people on this journey. So that has to be solid. On a scale of 1 to 10 right now, how solid are you when somebody challenges you and says, oh, network marketing doesn't work, or it's a pyramid scheme, or it's unethically immoral, and all those things that are actually the opposite from what it really is, which we explained in last week's session. So I don't have to go there. Watch that if you haven't seen it yet. So if your belief on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 is unshakable and 1 is really insecure, if it's less than 8, it needs work, right? You need to read the right books. You ask your upline support team, what can I read? What can I watch? Who can I listen to? There's podcasts. There's so much material that will feed you positive information and true knowledge about the industry. So that's where the work is. And the same with the other aspects, like the company. There's about 10,000 network marketing and direct sales companies. So there's probably a few hundred operating in your environment. There's people in this company and in that company, and they'll all say their company is the best. So how can you learn enough about longevity if you haven't yet got between 8 and 10 on that scale, right? Then you have to find out more and get really passionate about the company. The same with the products. Now, in all those companies, people will say they have the best products. Of course, that's why they're with that company. Well, you are with longevity. So make sure that you are really confident that you've made the right choice, that these products are what we say they are. Right? Again, on a scale of 1 to 10, where are you at right now? Without thinking too much about it, and then see if you're not between 8 and 10, work needs to be done. Compensation plans are very hard to read, and it's really important to understand it in principle. In detail, they're really complicated, but the compensation plan directs the human behavior in a company. How is the money made? How is it shared? How does the company dish it out to the people who do most of the work, or give it to a few people at the top, or some people give it to the bottom of the structure, right? So it has to be balanced. And that is something you have to be sure about, that this is a fair and balanced compensation plan. There's no free lunch in any compensation plan, right? But other people will say theirs is better. And it's not about having that argument. It's just about being confident. I just say, well, I'm happy with the plan I'm working. It doesn't matter if it's better, if yours is a bit better over here, well, it's probably not so good over there. Just being happy with your compensation plan so that you can be confident. And then it's network marketing success can only happen if other people can have success. So I get paid when the people I bring in get paid. The more they get paid, the more I get paid. So I can only win if I can help you win. Isn't that a beautiful ethical business model? But I have to believe when I bring somebody into the business, I have to believe that they can get to the top of the pay plan. If I don't think they can, then why would I invite them in, right? I'd rather say to somebody, look, you've got a lot of work to do on your inner game before you can have success. So don't expect a quick change, but let's work together. Or if it looks too hard, I say, I don't think this is the right business for you. Because people who just want to make money and they're not about people and helping other people, this isn't the right industry for them. But this is not just bringing somebody in, but helping them succeed. And that's where the beauty is in our business. That's where I get the most rewards, is when people have success. And then when that duplicates and it's 3 levels deep, away from me, people can train other people without needing me. That's when I have succeeded, right? Because now that leg, we call it the leg, right? That leg will take off whether I'm there or not. But until I'm 3 levels deep, it's only sales. And sales and network marketing are 2 very different things, even though we're only getting paid on sales, but the residual income comes from people knowing what to do to help others. So the belief in people has to be strong, and the strongest belief is it's about you. And I really want to change that slide to say me, because there's only one me and everybody else is a you, right? And this, in the center of my palm, right? So we got the industry, the company, the products, the compensation plan, other people. But if I, in the center, if I don't believe that I can succeed, now I think it was Henry Ford who said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, either way, you're right. And I used to say to people, oh, no, 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 no. Now they tell me they can't do it, and I tell them I will do it for them. I will do it with them, you know, and I bring them in. But if I can't help them change their mind and they think they can't, I'm not good with people, I'm not good with money, whatever it is, right? If that's what they believe, they are right. They can't do it. So changing that belief, that's, of course, the inner game part, is so important. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how strong is your belief in yourself that with this business, you can get the life you really want to live? Like on Monday morning, you wake up, money, time, and health isn't an issue at all. Friends, you got plenty of. What are you going to do on Monday morning, right? And is this where you're going to take this business, to have that life? So for me, I've enjoyed that life for over 20 years now. And my passion is to help people. That's why I'm still here talking to you now. I don't have to, right? I want to, because it's my passion. That's, I think, is an important ingredient in the success, is that whatever we learn, we pass it on, we share it. We don't have secrets like in the corporate structure, which is the true pyramid. They're all heading for less and less and less jobs as it gets tighter and tighter to the top. They don't share secrets, right? And they're not good friends at the end. They have sharp elbows to push others out of the way to get further up the pyramid, which is very limited, while ours is the opposite. It's open. You can build a much bigger business than me. And even if you were in my downline, you would make more money than me, easily, right? I didn't build a huge business to have the life I want. Some people want a lot more money than I'm happy with, right? I think I got heaps, but you know, the people, that's not enough. So the beauty is nobody will make more money out of your business than you. But you only get there by helping other people. Okay, so your inner conversations, that that inner voice, when you say, this is my goal, this is where I'm going, and your inner voice, which I call the child within, the child that's been there from conception to now and lives inside, and it doesn't age, right? And it knows everything you've ever said you're going to do and everything you really did. And so when your inner child knows you as a liar and a cheat because you said before, I'm going to change, I'm going to stop smoking or stop eating this or whatever, it hears your decision and it knows what you did. And so only you know what your inner child said when you joined longevity and you shared your goal with your sponsor, hopefully by now, right? What did your inner voice say? Did it say, yeah, great, we're going there, no doubt at all? Or did it say, yeah, right, let's see, you've said that before, right? No? So if your inner child doesn't believe you, you have to change that relationship. That's the real work of the inner game, to promise little things and actually do them and make a big song and a dance and celebrate every tiny little success, so that slowly but surely whatever you say really counts, because you got two yeses. You got your yes from up here and you got your yes from inside, right? Then there's no doubt and everything will happen. Whatever you say will happen. So we all have a money story, right? And often I hear, oh, money isn't so important. Well, money isn't the most important thing, but it's right up there with oxygen, right? Because we need it just about every day. How many days do you have where no money turns over? So I won't go into my story, having lived that other life for 10 years, as Tracy pointed out. I chose to be a hermit and live without money, but then life changed again and I needed money again, and I chose this industry and very quickly got to a six-figure, well, 2 years, it's relatively quickly, got to a six-figure income, and it's been going up ever since without me doing what I did in the first 2 years to get it off the ground. It takes a lot of momentum. So, but I had a money story that money was bad and rich people are bad and all that stuff that goes on for a lot of us in our mind about money and rich people. But if you have a bad story about money and rich people and you don't change that story, and it's quite an effort, you can't have the money because nobody wants to be a bad person, right? So you have to find examples of people, like in this industry, it's easy. You look at your upline that makes the money you want to make and look at their life and their integrity and their ethical behavior and what they can do, because they have a full plate. They have everything they need. They can now give time and advice and money and energy to other people. So they're of much more value to their community than people who have an empty plate and holding up the hand, right? So what's your money story? And it's good again to take a piece of paper and write down, what's your conditioned mind about money, wealth, rich people? Because this whole series is about creating wealth. Now, wealth to me is what you've got left when somebody takes all your money away. So the wealth isn't the money. The money is a big part of, you don't want to be in debt. You don't want a better car, can't afford it, want nicer clothes, but can't afford them. You know, that's not wealth. But whatever I need, I can do with money not being in the way, right? And then, of course, the greatest wealth is health, because if you got all the money, but you're sick, you're not going anywhere either, right? And pain, you can't get rid of pain with money. You got to do the inner game to find out what caused the pain, right? So it's good to do this. This industry gives us the chance to do both things at the same time. You're growing your health and your health consciousness. You're growing your wealth and your wealth consciousness at the same time, and you get more and more friends who are on the same journey. And the ones that want to hold you back, they stay behind. I've got plenty of friends who didn't join me, and I don't have that much to do with them now. I grew out of that environment into the environment where I wanted to move. Okay, so that brings me to the next question there. What is success to you? Success is a bit, no, it's vague because everybody has a different picture to success, but you can put a number there in money. How much money do you need so you don't owe anybody anything? You can do whatever you want to do. And that's the money goal. And then is what's in the way. I have discovered that when people come in and they got a huge goal, you know, like they tell me what they want and why they want to do this business. And the bigger the goal, the bigger the obstacles that come in the way. Because if you knew how to get from here to there, you'd already be there, right? So it's not going to be an easy journey. If the goal is very different from the current reality, it takes a lot of work. And most of those people who come in with this big goal, they aren't there in 3 months because they hit the first obstacle and they go, oh no, this is too hard. I jump over here and there and there. And, you know, I've seen people go from company to company or from this career to that career, and they struggle because they're not addressing the programming, the inner game, the subconscious mind. So be clear what success is to you and make measurable goals so that you know you're on track, you're walking in the right direction as fast as you can. And when you hit an obstacle, instead of saying this is too hard, you start reading books, listening to people, asking for help, because we have a whole structure here where we have everybody in your upline wants you to succeed. So everybody who's already hit that obstacle will give you whatever they learned to help you get around that, right? And keep going on the journey. And this is a mountain example because I'm originally Austrian and I'm a mountain boy, so it may not work for you, but you can use another example. But if we were to climb Mount Everest, all of us together now would say, hey, let's climb Mount Everest. Well, there'll be a 5-year plan before we're on the top of that mountain. And in those 5 years, we'd have to train every day. We'd have to hold the vision that this is what we're going to do. And every day we're doing something. And then we go for weekends and climb smaller mountains. And we build this relationship between all of us who decided to go up Mount Everest. If you don't do the action steps and you don't do the little mountains, right, you won't be on the plane to Nepal, or you'll be sitting in a cafe in Kathmandu, but you won't get up to base camp and definitely not to the top. So that's what this journey is about. Most people who come on the journey, they don't get to Kathmandu because they don't do the action steps. Some get to base camp. Very few get to the top. But the action steps are so simple that everybody can do it. It's just a matter of, are you the one who's going to do it, or are you the one who's at the first obstacle going to say, oh, this is too hard? Excuse me. So it's that decision and holding the focus. Like I said, the 80 seconds of no thought, no other thought than the one, will already give you everything you want. But how do you get to 80 seconds of stillness? Having a 5-year plan in business is really important for any business person. You don't stop after 6 months because it looks like it may not work. No, you keep going, and after 5 years, you're either very successful or bankrupt on the way, right? But you got to hold the focus to go through until maybe, you know, bankruptcy is, of course, the end of that dream. But the good thing about our business is you don't go bankrupt. You didn't start with a few $1,000 loan from somewhere, right? It's just something anybody can do on the side. Keep doing what you're already doing. Add this, But if you make it your focus, then every spare moment you're building your business. You have your day job to pay the bills and the bread and the butter, and you do this business to get out of the day job, right? If you want to be a professional network marketer, you want to leave the day job behind as soon as possible. So the more energy you put this way, the faster that will happen. And yeah, if we have wealth, the opposite is probably poverty, right? And poverty consciousness is so put into so many of us. There's very few people who grew up with wealth consciousness, right? And they say if you grow up with wealthy and wise, if they're just rich, that may be not true, but if they're wealthy and wise, they have taught you about wealth and you'll never even consider poverty. So if you take a millionaire who's actually consciously made their millions and you take their money away, their wealth is in their confidence and their knowledge and their skills that they've developed. They'll be a millionaire very quickly again. And there's plenty of examples. Many millionaires have been bankrupt once or twice, right? It's not a problem to them. It's just an experience and they go and do it again, right? Poverty conscious people will always stick to, I can't afford it. What's even worse is I don't deserve it. That's a spiritual poverty consciousness, right? Like where you think you don't deserve the good life, which that's a big challenge if you've got that problem. And if you always compare yourself to other people, and especially if you're looking at other people who have more than you, and you then think, oh, I can never have that. These are not healthy places to be. But sadly, that's where a lot of the people, if not most of the people, are in their mind, right? So when you're wealth conscious, then it's not about affording it. It's whatever I want to do that's important, I can do. That doesn't mean I'm buying everything. Like my daughter, I started this whole journey because I became a father when I was 40 and I had nothing. And I grew up with a single mother and I heard a lot, we can't afford this. And that whole poverty consciousness was built in. That's why I thought money was bad. I believed that money is the root of all evil. But I've changed my mind because I could see that money can do a lot of good. Good people with a lot of money will be good people doing good things. Bad people with a lot of money will be bad people doing bad things. So money just ups your potential of, can you do more good? Can you do more bad? So when I had a daughter, I didn't want to ever be in a situation where I have to say, oh, I know I would like to get you this and you really need it, but we can't afford it. I wanted to say no for other reasons, but never because we can't afford it. So she grew up, she never heard can't afford this and can't afford that. And so she's got that the wealth program built in and she never wastes anything. Right? So when she was like 14 and she wanted another bra and she's on the internet over there and I'm here and she says, oh, wow, look at this, And I just give her my credit card and she says to me, Dad, you don't have to buy it for me just because I want it. So she considered, oh, I like this, but do I really need it? And we had that conversation often. She goes shopping and comes back with nothing. She saw a lot of nice things, but she didn't really need them. So while when you grow up in poverty and somebody gives you a credit card, you'll probably throw heaps in the trolley, right? So there's a difference. When we have more than we need, we are definitely a better asset for the community we live in than if we have less than we need and we need from the community. That's probably a simple picture of the difference between having wealth or having poverty consciousness. How much can we give? And another sad thing I see out there in the world is that a lot of people that are giving, you know, in church, in the community, in the hospice, you know, people who give all their time and so much love are often broke. And that's not really fair either. I would like people who are naturally giving people to also have the money. And I think that's where our business model comes in, where they can do this and keep giving and doing the love sharing, right? But also make the money. I think I said that, empty plate versus full plate. So the inner game is really fueled by, now what's the opposite of passion is probably close enough to depression, like when you got no energy, chronic fatigue, depression. A lot of people are down that end of the wellness journey. And passion is you're on fire, right? It's you need that fire to go out there and offer something that not everybody will want. And people will throw buckets of water at you, cold water, to stop you from this dream that they think you're in. And if you have passion, nobody can put your fire out. And that's where the 5-pointed star or 6-pointed, right, is really important. When you're between 8 and 10 on all those issues about your offer, they can throw buckets of water at you and you will not have less passion because you know why you're here and why you're offering it and what you're doing. So it's about making a difference in other people's life, which is only possible if they want a different life. So our offer isn't for everybody, because if people are happy to be sick and tired and complain all the time, you know, like a qualifying question for me was always, have you got a pic? If somebody complains about their health or what, so I said, have you got a picture of yourself in the near future being really well or having the money you want? And if they go, oh, no, 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 I walk away. I cannot help those people because they haven't got a picture of themselves in a positive place. And if I stay with them, they'll try to pull me down into their place, which there's plenty of examples. And I think even, I hope we can all relate to that. Don't spend too much time with the people who always blame and complain. And if they are a blamer and the complainer and you get them in your business, the next person they'll blame and complain about is going to be you. So I run a complainer. So the goal has to be bigger than just yourself. I say that if your goal is bigger than yourself, the whole universe is going to support it. If the goal is only about you, nobody cares. Right? So what can you do when you have more than you need? Focus on that. And then there'll be a lot of support on an energy level, and I call it from the universe. So having those true core values that are deep inside of you, like what is good, what is bad, that's pretty deeply programmed into us. We have to reevaluate those because some are no longer true as an adult. What you were told, what's good, what's bad. Like if you were told rich people are bad people, you have to examine that. Is it true? Are there rich people with really good intentions that can do a lot of good things? I think there's plenty of examples for that. So finding the resonance with this business and this business model and your core values, and find out that, yes, this business is absolutely the most ethical business model. The best way I can get to money is this business model. Then you're going to find the passion, right? So I said that already in another way. If people aren't willing to do the work and make the changes, they're probably going to be staying where they are and slowly going down. Most of the people who didn't join me for whatever reason, I could say nearly all of those, their financial situation and their health situation is not better off than it was then. In some cases, they're not even with us anymore. And I know I could have helped them, but they didn't want to make the changes, right? They decided this isn't for them. So we can't help anybody but you. Are you willing to make those changes so that you get from your current reality, which is we're all doing our best every day. So your current reality is the best you can do at this point. And if you want a better life, are you willing to make the changes? And then do the work. And it's going to be fun, because when life gets better, it's fun, it's great, it's higher energy every day. But we all have an autopilot, and this is the program we have to break. And it's like if you've got a thermostat on the wall that says 20 degrees, it's going to be impossible to get to 21 or to 19. And so our autopilot is set by our conditioning, and we have to consciously find that dial inside and just turn it up a bit, turn up the heat, turn up the fire and the passion for that better life. Otherwise, the autopilot will keep you exactly where you are, which is what happens to people who win the lotto. They win millions, but you know, somebody said, if you win $1 million in the lotto, you better become a millionaire quickly, because the millionaire's got a different mindset than the person who never had any money and all of a sudden they got $1 million. What are they going to do? They usually give it to the wrong people and it all disappears. And 3 years later, they're often depressed and worse off than they were before they won the lotto. There's, again, plenty of examples of that and very few exceptions. Always exceptions. So breaking that program, that's like a thermostat or an autopilot. Well, if you want to reprogram, there's so many books these days, and so there's audiobooks, there's podcasts, you know, there's so much you can listen to that helps you in reprogramming your mind. You just have to decide that to follow somebody who is where you want to go. So often those things, those personal development workshops, they cost a lot of money. And at the end of the day, you know, you have an amazing weekend and you come out really high, and by Wednesday, life's back to normal. I know people who've spent $50,000 on personal development, and I can't see any change in their life. They're still having the same struggles, the same job, you know. That's the beauty of a network marketing business, because you're making the money on the journey. And as you get better, the money also grows. Well, if you just go on the personal development journey with all these gurus out there, you're going to have less money, and then you work really hard to make enough for the next workshop that makes you feel good, and they're not giving you the whole vehicle, right? We got the whole vehicle here where all those different aspects are going to be addressed if you succeed in network marketing. So I don't think I'll go through those in detail. No, I won't. You all have access to this PowerPoint and to this recording. So going through those steps.
You can read the steps, Manfred. Just read through the steps and then we can move to the next slide. But I think it's still good hearing it from you.
Okay. So the creating a new story, I think I've made my point. The old story has given you the life you've got. The new story, you have to tell yourself and others. If it's not your family and friends, then tell it to your upline. Tell your goal, your vision, your action steps often, because that's telling your subconscious a new story. So you can't share your story often enough. And that's a big part of what our business is about. You. Whenever you get a chance to share testimonials, share your story, share your goal, do it. It's good for the subconscious to hear it. Make it visual, like a vision chart, a dream board, writing things down, recording it and listening to your own voice telling yourself where you're going. And in the beginning, that will feel a bit stupid, but it's really important to start liking your voice. And I know how hard it is to listen to your own voice telling you the story, but do it and keep doing it, and it will make the biggest difference. Prove it to yourself is making little goals, celebrating the success. If inviting people is too hard, just make a goal, say, I'm going to smile at 3 people today. And try to do that. It's really hard because you want them to look at you so they acknowledge your smile. And if you do that, you might have to look at a lot of people before you can do 3 smiles. But when you've done 3 smiles, celebrate it. Have the cappuccino and whatever your reward is, right? But make those little goals and prove to yourself that you do what you say, because that inner child will change its story and its belief in you. Finding living examples for what you want, right? Finding people who are there. That's again in our industry, it's easy to find the people who are where you want to go. They can be your mentors. Anybody will be happy to mentor you as long as you're willing to do what they say. Like, don't ask somebody to mentor you and then argue with them. Right? So listening to inspiring messages, podcasts, audiobooks, read motivating books. So whether you're a reader or a listener or a watcher of videos, make sure they are helping you on this journey. So don't waste your time with just entertainment. The time's over where you jump in the car and you listen to music or the radio. You listen to something that will help you change and help you with this business. So any time you get where you can listen or read or watch something, make sure it's gonna help you on this journey. Yeah, become a podcast driver, that is that. Surround yourself with people going in the same direction as you. You don't wanna go with the people who are going the other way. That should be obvious, but it's sometimes hard because they can be your best friends. But if you want to change your life and they don't, you probably have to spend less and less time with them and more with the people who are going in your direction. And become a magnet. So this whole thing of being attractive, the most attractive people are people who listen, not people who talk. So be interested in people rather than being interesting to them, not impressing them. But the magnet, it's funny, it's not by what I say about me and who I am. It's about how much I listen to you, because we don't get listened to all that much out there in general, right? So if somebody feels that you're really interested and you're really listening, because you want to listen enough to make your case for an invite. Are there somebody who would like my product? Are there somebody who'd like my business? But the most important, are there somebody I'd love to have more to do with in my life? Because this business is so close that if you don't want them on your dinner table or you wouldn't trust them with your kids, don't invite them into your business. It's too close to home. So finding that out takes a lot of listening. And people love that. So you become a magnet by just asking a few questions and listen very carefully to the answers. And you'll see how unique that is to the other person. And of course, it's all about repeat, because the way we got programmed was repeat, repeat, repeat. And if the story we got programmed with is no longer the truth for us, to change it, we have to first find out which patterns do I have? What do I automatically, what's my automatic behavior, which is the thermostat, the autopilot, right? That is no longer serving me. So when I see something I can't afford, do I go, oh, I'd love that, I can't afford it? Or do I go, how many people do I have to sign up so I can have that? And then go and do what it takes to make the money, right? So it's so easy in our business. If you understand the compensation plan, which I encourage you to do, it's so easy to say, okay, this is what I have to do so I can have that, rather than say, I can't afford it. And repeat, repeat. Here's how to become a magnet. Well, I've already covered that in one way, but become an attractive leader. If you think you're a leader and nobody's following you, then you're only just going for a walk. Anybody can do that. And there's people walking as if they're leaders, but there's nobody walking behind them, right? They just don't want to look. So the leader is somebody, like you, the leader to the one person. If you sign up one person, they look up at you, you are the leader. So you have to communicate with your leader to know what to do, and then that can duplicate. And if we keep it simple, it's not a hard thing. You don't have to study for 4 years to be a leader. You can be a leader today because you know that little bit more than the person you're bringing in. Raising your vibration, yeah, that's all inner game. Loving yourself, well, that is my favorite subject, because I know that's the main issue we all have, is we're taught love your neighbor as you love yourself, but we're not taught how to love yourself by the same people who say love your neighbor as you love yourself. So you have to learn that yourself. Most of us haven't learned it from our parents, and we haven't learned it in school or in church or anywhere we go. And the more you love yourself, the more all those other things will fall into place. You raise your vibration, everybody will see that you have more love, and that's the light that shines brighter than anything else. So that alone will solve it all if you start loving yourself more, which also is with that inner child and the relationship. It's about acknowledging that you're changing and you're now doing what you say you're going to do, and celebrating the little successes. That's a big part of loving yourself. And opening your heart, well, you know, it's in this world out there, you don't want to run around with an open heart, because it puts you in a vulnerable position. But that's why we're creating this community, right? Like we have our longevity community where we can have an open heart. You go to convention, there's thousands of people, and the heart is open because everybody's in a safe environment and in a good state. So creating a community where we can communicate with an open heart, that's one of my big passions about the industry. And what would your life look like? You know, like focus on the Monday morning, money, time, health, friends, no limitation. What would your life look like? Make that vision board, start cutting out any picture you see anywhere in a magazine that fits your future life, right? The 5 and 10 year exercise is like a future letter you're writing to yourself, and it's 5 years from now. So it's the day you're climbing Mount Everest, right? The day you're going to be at the top, and you tell yourself now, it's now this day. 5 years ago, we were sitting in that cafe and listened to this person showing us this opportunity, and then tell the whole story of what happened to get ready to be in this place now. And in 5 years from now, when you read that letter, you'll be amazed how much you already know now, what has to happen for you to be up the top of that mountain, your mountain, right? And be to have, it's the opposite of have, do, be. When I have the things, I'll do all this and I'll be that person. No, you got to be that person. Start thinking like that person you want to be. Start doing all the things that that person would do or has done. And then you will have those things very quickly. And time, health, and money, they're the most important things really in our life. Well, I'd put love there as well. But the relationship between health and money if you haven't got the money, you will lose your health over the time you sell to your boss and stress for 40 years, you know, that whole journey of never having enough money, and it's going to cost you your health and you'll never have time. But if you can make the money and free yourself, and like in our business model, you get the money and the health anyway, and then you got the time to do what you really, really want to do. And with this business, once you're successful, you can live anywhere on the planet. If you go to Hawaii and you decide to stay for a year, you can. I'm just happy where I am now, but I could be anywhere. Okay. Discipline, well, self-discipline. If you keep doing what you've always done, you'll pretty much have the same life going slowly downhill. So it takes discipline to do something different. Comes with a repeat. And yes, we measure success by your backbone, not your wishbone. So a lot of people, like I said, the people who come in with big goals and then stop at the first obstacle, well, they have no backbone, and the wishbone will never give them the life for. So you got to have a strong backbone to do the daily action, and the inner game is 80% of that, when you ask me. I think that's it, Tracy.
Well done. Look at you. You wrapped that up in just less than an hour. So Manfred, well done. Thank you. And I have to say, what really hit me in there was the part about raising your vibration. And it all comes on when you focus on that inner game. You raise your vibration by the foods you eat, the people you meet, the places you go, and what you're willing to allow for yourself, the agreements you make for yourself, that what's good enough for you. How do you become discerning for those that are deserving in your life? And I really feel strong about that. And I just wanted to share a couple of quick things before I let everybody go. One of the very first early books that I did read, I've read a few in the early days, but the ones that stand out the most that I want to share with you, if you haven't read already, and if you have, I want you to get this one, because it's a really good starter book for anybody, especially working on your game. And it's called The 4 Agreements, and it's by Don Miguez. And it's so simple, it's so easy, but this is what has grounded me through my entire career of rejections and no's, no shows, low shows, you know, people not showing up. But how did I still make it and overcome all the obstacles? And so that 4 agreements, and I'm just going to quickly go through it with you. It's number 1, being impeccable with your word. And what I loved about it is more than just what you say. It's what you say with integrity, but it's also how you use your words, how Manfred was saying, the way you speak to yourself, the way you speak to others. When something bad happens, what are the first things that come out of your mouth? Do you curse? Do you swear? Or do you actually just see what was good out of it, what's grateful, and how you can learn from it? So just the importance of being impeccable with your word, I think, is so powerful. I've used that. Don't take things personally. This business can beat you up, but it also can highly reward you. And so how important it is to not take things personally. You know, nothing others do is because of you. So this is just a really good lesson you can learn on it. Then number 3, don't make assumptions. How many times we make assumptions by lack of information, and we start creating stories in our head. This is where you need to become a good communicator, learn to ask really good questions, so you never are assuming anything. And so I love, we all know what assume means, making an ass of you or me. So again, don't make assumptions. And then last but not least out of this is to always do your best. I know I work through the day, and sometimes I don't necessarily get through all the calls or all the emails and the tasks I have on hand, but I know I have to go to bed knowing I did the best. But I also know everybody out there that I come in contact with, it, whether it's positive and negative, I know they're doing their best. And because I don't assume, and I'm not judging, and I'm not taking things personally, I know that I have lived a very grateful, flourished life because of it, and I'm incredibly grateful for books like this. The other thing is talking about a really good podcast to start on, Become That Podcast Driver, is our very own Alex Tice. He's got over 800 10-minute podcasts, and so it's called Limitless. And so I listen to mine on the app called Castbox, but I believe you could just go to podcast, whatever apps there is. But again, going back to Limitless, Alex Tice, that book and those podcasts is a really great start for you to work on your inner game. And so we're going to continue this series. I hope you got a lot out of this. I will give me the next 24 hours. I'll get the link so you can have your very own PowerPoint. And as you can see, that PowerPoint is made for anybody. You can share this with anybody that you know wants to have a better life and be better. And you can become your own very big trainer on the inner game. So next week is going to be having a PhD in social skills. It's going to be Carla Hart. She delivered it at our Leader Summit. It was fantastic. And so the game only just keeps going. So I'm glad you guys took the time tonight. If you have anything positive you want to share about tonight's event, you know, I'm sure Manfred would love some positive feedback from those of you out there. I can see some in the chat here. Feel free to unmute yourself. And so yes, you'll get the PDF on this, no problem. And I loved it so much. There you got Manfred. Thank you so much. That's great. And if anybody wants to say anything, please feel free. And I will stop my recording.
Yeah, everybody's muted.
I think they can unmute themselves. If I hit unmute, yeah, there's a lot of noise. Okay, I'm muting all. You have to mute yourself if you want to say something. Does anybody want to say anything? Everybody shy?
Yeah, Manfred, thank you so much. That was really, really inspirational, especially for me, the part about looking at what are my beliefs in relation to the industry, the company, you know, and looking at that scale. And then really, like for me, when you said if it's not at least an 8 or above, I need to start working on it. So that's something that I'll be looking at doing. So thank you. Excellent,
CJ. Good job. Very good. One more, anybody? Just so Manfred knows, he was speaking for an entire hour. You did a great job, lots of great stories to support all that material. I want everybody to know this entire series is backed by Manfred and Zavana, which you'll get to meet when we do the 4 network marketing types. And so he's helped mastermind this entire series. Inner Game is his baby. So I want to say a huge thank you. And all these reminders are definitely aha moments. Thanks, Mandy. So you guys all have a great night. I'll see you guys next Thursday. Go out there, rock and roll, and just have some fun and just love being yourself and love doing what you're doing. You're at 100% where you want to be.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Manfred.
Yeah, thanks, Douglas. Good to see you.
As well.
Thanks, Tracy.
Excellent. You guys have a great night.
Thanks, Manfred. Good night.